Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is obscure? Well, for one thing, it's not. They changed the name of this. Interestingly enough, obscure, there was actually a game called this before. Funnily enough, this is by guys from that same studio. The original studio was Hydravision. This is now Mighty Rocket, containing many of the same members. It's like, hey, let's make a game with the same name as our previous game that's not remotely similar. Then let's change it to Final Exam. I just heard from the PR a couple of days ago that they've changed the name of this to Final Exam but haven't updated the preview build yet. So that's a little bit confusing. Regardless, it is I'd say it's a brawler. In fact, yeah, it's just a straight-up brawler, really, from Mighty Rocket, published by Focus Home Interactive. This is a preview build, as you can see, work in progress, not necessarily representative of the final product. Just bear that in mind. That means I'm only playing with a gamepad, because it doesn't work with keyboard and mouse at all. It's also only in 720p right now. The options menu is lackluster, to say the least. Admittedly, it is a preview build, so I can kind of let them off with that. Admittedly, if this game does come out and doesn't have any of those things, I will not let them off with that. In fact, I especially won't let them off with that, because I really don't like people that lie to me. Anyway, what's it all about? Well, it is, I'd say, kind of post-monster apocalypse brawler with a couple of different characters. It also has a bit of a leveling up system in it, and it has up to 4-player co-op. Because I'm like the only person with this preview build, apparently barely anyone's got it right now, I, needless to say, will be playing it on my own. Now, annoyingly enough, it looks like I will be redoing Subway Ride, which is extremely irritating because I actually made my way through the vast majority of this, but it seems... Oh, it does say mission in progress. I wonder if it will actually let me resume. I'm hoping that it will. Before that, though, I'll show you the characters. There are currently 4 different characters in the game with various different stats, as you can very clearly see there. They also have progression trees, which is quite neat. There are skills and talents that you can acquire. I'm hoping it'll let me show you those. Cool. There's a save in progress for this mission. That's good. If it had forced me to go back to the beginning, considering I think it took me like 30 minutes to get to this point in the mission, I probably would have flipped a lid. Thankfully, no. Alright, so it's going to let me show you the stats as well as the skill progression here. You also have an inventory, which allows you to customize weapons, although these are pretty much all locked right now. Until you find all the objects in the missions, you are kind of limited to what you can select here. In this case, it starts me with a bat with nails in it. Always a good option for any kind of monster apocalypse. 9mm pistol that looks curiously two-dimensional, probably done on a 3D printer. And then you've got grenades and a bunch of other stuff. Skills. We can show you that. So there are actually a couple of different talent trees available. Increase the number of med kits you've got. Loaded attacks, hold down to do damage there. Various different active skills, including dodges, air combos, and tackles. Extra fury, flaming weapons, an active skill. It's pretty nice. I mean, you can see this is very much a work in progress, considering it's got that $action_aptitude. I don't even know what the hell that means. Same with this as well. It took me a little bit of time to actually figure out what was going on with it. But the fact that there's some skill progression in it is pretty cool. The ability to unlock abilities as you go through it and also upgrade your stats. Very Shining Force, not Shining Force, sorry, what am I talking about? Guardian Heroes, yeah, the other really great Saturn game. Very Guardian Heroes-esque. Admittedly, Guardian Heroes is still the king of this particular genre. And yes, it's better than Castle Crashers. Don't even start with me. I will fight you. Okay. Let's rock and roll then, shall we? Let's get into the game and show you exactly what's going on with it. As I said, there is 4-player co-op available. In this case, though, it looks like we'll be doing this level. Alright, let's fight some stuff. So, it is exactly what you would expect from a brawler, in the sense that you brawl. You fight stuff. And in this case, it's monsters. Various different kinds of monsters. And you do so with a couple of different weapons. I can shoot them with a pistol, I can fight them with my melee weapon. The melee weapon has a couple of different combos available. And obviously skills that you can learn, so I can charge up a shot there. Also, this level's actually quite nicely designed because you are on a moving train, so you're also dodging out of the way of stuff that's coming in from the background to the foreground, which is actually quite interesting. I believe that has been done before, but it's not done all that often, so I definitely appreciate the fact that they're doing that. Adds a nice little element to the game. Unfortunately, prior to this, I did one of the worst boss battles I think I've ever had to do in the history of ever, and it did not work out so well for me. It was really annoying. Instead of brawling, I basically had to throw these explosive crates back at the boss over and over and over again. I'm doing pretty badly at this little kind of platforming brawler section. But it's nice to actually break up the flow a little bit. Surprisingly enough, the game actually does have a little bit of exploration. Quite a lot of it, in fact. A lot of brawlers are very much side-scrolling. You go in one direction. The classic style, like Double Dragon, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, they all do that. In this case, though, a little bit of more Metroidvania-esque exploration. There are side objectives. There are hidden stuff. Wow, let's try a new sentence, one that works properly. There's a bunch of hidden stuff available. And it definitely rewards you for looking in different areas and discovering things, which I do very much like. That exploration element does help the game quite a bit. Oh, that's pretty fun, too. Now, from the brawler side of things, though, you know, this is what we can't ignore, because at the end of the day, it is actually a brawler, and if we ignore the fact that it's a brawler, then we would be really, really bad at our jobs, wouldn't we? Yes, we would. So, something to bear in mind is, of course, that fighting is a lot of what this game consists of. How good is the fighting? Well, the problem with skill-based games is that, generally speaking, that means the fighting early on in the game is weaker and less interesting than the fighting later on in the game, and this dodging is actually incredibly irritating. Thankfully, I can use the dodge skill to get past it. This is now outstaying its welcome, and I'm probably going to have to do this section again because I'm about to die, and I do not actually have any health potions. In this case, they are fast food meals, which is extremely disappointing. Very, very irresponsible of them to promote such things. I'm kidding. Get over it. Alright, can we just not stop? Oh, god damn it. Oh, thankfully, I did forget this game actually does have lives, so you can resurrect yourself, but I think that was my last life, so at least that should get me past this section. Again, it's nice that the section's here. Anyway, as I was saying, the brawling at the start is pretty basic because you don't have that many moves available, yeah? So, if I didn't unlock, say, the ability to load my attack, as it were, then I'd really just be kind of bashing the X button over and over and again. And bashing the X button is actually one of the more effective ways of doing things. I don't know why I'm particularly surprised by that. Oh, god damn it, really? That's BS. Alright, so I guess I'm going to be throwing crates at him again. It's the same sodding monster that I was... Screw the crates. Please don't make me carry the crates over there. If you do that, I'm going to hate you forever. Let's get rid of these monsters first. There we go. Most of the attacks seem to consist of bashing the X button over and over and over again to do this kind of 3-hit combo. You can do this aerial juggle, which is pretty effective. But the game is definitely quite limited. Oh, it looks like I'm going to have to use crates and nitro for this. Alright. There we go. Oh, come off it, really? I really have to make my way all the way through here. Come on. Here it comes. There's... Oh, I had to jump that! Come on! Really? I'm listening for the bells that indicate that I'm getting there, but... Seriously, I'm gonna have to get crates all the way over there. Now, there's variety and then there's annoying. Now, this is incredibly irritating. Good lord. Oh, what an annoying mechanic. Ah. I'm still trying to tell you about the brawling, and I keep getting distracted by things that happen. The brawling's really, really basic. And what doesn't help it is the... God damn it! The overall monster variety, or lack thereof, yeah? Within, like, the first hour or so of play, I've seen a grand total of 3 monsters, yeah? And they more often than not throw the same monster at you over and over again. For comparison, within the first 4 minutes of Streets of Rage, there are 5 different enemy types. Now, don't get me wrong, Streets of Rage, you reuse a lot of enemies later on in the game with different colors and things like that, but Streets of Rage is also like 20 years old, so... It kind of has an excuse there. I think the limited selection of monsters really hurts the early game, especially considering that you have fairly limited... Oh, come on! Why would you do this? Fairly limited special moves and things that you can actually use. Now, you can activate an energy-based move by doing this, so that's a kind of dance move that I've got right there, which seems to be pretty effective, but it does burn a little bit of your energy bar to do that. This is just irritating. Who designed this? They're out of their fragile little minds, I tell you. Oh, my... It's even worse because I can barely hear the bells because I'm too busy commentating and I have to have my levels on really low. Oh, I'm gonna end up having to do this level again. I can see it coming. Go away. So yeah, the combination of the lack of enemy variety and the sort of very repetitive brawling with a lack of moves at the start of the game isn't very helpful. I feel the game probably is very much a grower as opposed to a shower, and the fact that you unlock different weapons as you go through, and then you unlock different skills as you go through as well, will help the diversity significantly. But in the early... Come off it! In the early part of this preview build, it's lacking in that respect, which is unfortunate. The combat itself, for what it's got, is actually pretty fun. Yeah? There's nice impacts, the actual combo system is satisfying to use, which is good. Maintaining your combo isn't that hard as long as you're actually paying attention and doing what you're supposed to be doing. So, that's always good. I'm gonna have to dodge out of the way of there. Oh, bloody hell. So annoying. And the ability to switch between various different special moves as well as a ranged weapon, melee weapon, and grenades is also pretty nice. I am definitely not criticizing that one in any respect. I do find the use of the pressing in the thumbstick to sprint to be pretty irritating. Not really sure why they chose that. I guess because they kind of ran out of buttons. There's actually... Should have seen that one coming a mile away. There's actually a surprising number of buttons that are used in this game. And you'd think that that would, you know, provide quite a lot of depth to the combat system. There's definitely some of it. You know, it's not just a mash button win kind of situation. But there's quite a bit of that regardless. So that's something to consider. It's just a shame that the game's such kind of a slow burner there. I think if they came out of the gate with a lot more enemies, a couple of different weapon choices, a couple more moves, then it would be a more interesting start to the title. I have a feeling that, yeah, later on in the game it will get quite a bit better. So you want me to throw this at him? Or let's... Okay. So that's one. Alright, so you replace the two crates, I guess. Alright. I'm eventually getting there at least. But yeah, you can't really have a slow start, I think, in a brawler, yeah? I don't think that's a genre where that kind of thing works. Most people will run out of patience if they don't have enough fun within the first half an hour or so. There's stuff like grand strategy and RPGs where you can get away with it, but I feel that pacing is actually a serious problem that this preview build has. The weird thing is that as a preview build, it has that problem, yeah? That's very, very strange. Usually in a preview build, what you try and do is show a cross-section of gameplay, and you do so in such a way that it's not necessarily representative of the final product because you've condensed everything down, yeah, because you want to show more. But in this case, Final Exam doesn't actually do that, which is really strange, honestly. Really, really strange indeed. You would think that they would spend just a little bit more time on that. Oh, come on! Tried to jump him and failed miserably. This section is just infuriating. I mean, I appreciate the different objectives, don't get me wrong, but this is annoying as hell. Good lord. But, you know, with only, like, one weapon, and the fact that you can't upgrade your skills until after you beat the level, and the levels are really long as well. So, in this case, I think I've been playing for about 30 minutes and I haven't reached the end of the level. Even though I've earned a ton of points to get skills and stuff, I can't use them. So, that to me is particularly irritating. I think that it would benefit from cutting the No! You bastard! You horrible bastard! Oh, this is it. I think the game would benefit from cutting the levels up just a little bit and allowing you to learn skills at a quicker rate instead of at the end of a level that lasts like 30 minutes or more. I don't think the game benefits from that at all, because then at least you've got a new skill to play with, you've got a little bit more variety involved in it. That's good. Yeah? That helps your game a significant amount. As it stands, though, 3 different enemies, 1 weapon, and a couple of different moves is not enough for 30 minutes of gameplay for me. The co-op side of things will definitely help. Brawlers have most assuredly benefited from co-op in the past. There's no real question about that one. Will this one specifically? Well, probably no more than any... I hate you so much. Probably no more than any other game of its type, really. From what I can tell, there aren't really co-op moves that you can use, but there is a degree of synergy between the characters because they do have different skills and different focuses. So there's a guy that's very much focused on explosives, a guy that's focused on melee combat, just being a general tank, and so on and so forth. So there is definitely value to the co-op there, and the fact that it does actually have online... Son of a bitch. The fact that it does have online co-op is a pretty huge benefit that is, more often than not, actually completely forgotten when it comes to games like this. This is coming out on Xbox 360 as well as PC. But I think they've definitely got a lot more work to do. I think they really have to work on the pacing of it. Have a look at some of the levels, like the initial boss fight against the tank where you're just throwing crates, because it really outstays its welcome. I think the one on the train and the sort of dodging the stuff that's coming at you is actually kind of fine. That's really not a big deal. I'm okay with that being the way that it is. Finally! Good lord. That took long enough. I'm okay with that, you know. That's a nice little piece of variety in there, but I think the game is actually strongest when it's allowing you to actually explore levels, find items, and little secrets, and so on and so forth. That's really, really good. The art style is pretty good for the most part. It's actually quite enjoyable. It's got a nice color palette to it. The design of the monsters is pretty good as well. They're not that generic. That's actually what got to me. For the most part, in a game like this, you'd more than likely just find very, very generic enemies. And no, not in this case. They actually put some effort into making them look a little bit different, even if they don't have that many in the first couple of levels. There we go. Oh, damn it. I was like, oh, that's going to hit in front. Nope, it's an AoE. There you go, have some of that. Unfortunately, a lack of ranged weapons is not helping me here. Ah, yes, the old standard Phase 2 nonsense where they bring other enemies in. I was talking about enemy types, by the way. There's another one. Those are the jumpers that will actually cling to ceilings. Ow, 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 ow. Animation quality is pretty good as well, actually. Like, across the board, it just seems like a really tight package. And it definitely benefits from that. It does not look cheap. Yeah, it looks premium for what it is, even if it... Oh, come on, I pressed the dodge button there. I made the mistaken assumption that that would actually help me in some way. Apparently not. Oh, really? It swings around and hits you like that? Oh. The game is a gigantic ball of frustration. It's mostly because I'm bad at it. Like, I'm not going to make any excuses for it. If I wasn't so terrible at the game, I wouldn't have those problems. This is just a, you know, a straight-up fair boss fight. The one earlier on where you just got to throw crates at him, no. Not so much at all, and that I found very annoying indeed. There we go. Things are at least looking a little bit better now. Dodge, dodge, dodge. Toss a grenade. Good damage. That's what we like. This has got promise, yeah? I'm the kind of guy that likes brawlers. I likes them a lot. Definitely like the online co-op option for that kind of thing. And this is definitely not a bad brawler by any stretch of the imagination. I just think it needs a little bit more in the early game. And that's fine, because there's time for that, yeah? Maybe just give an extra weapon choice at the start. Maybe just throw a few more enemy types in there initially just to make the combat a little bit more interesting. Couple more moves from the outset rather than what you've just got, because obviously hitting XXX over and over again is not that great, and since you don't start with the aerial combo, the aerial juggle doesn't help you that much, yeah? It's not something you really need to do because it's more efficient just to hammer the X button over and over and over again. Also, one other thing I would say is that a lot of the monsters have massive tells on all of their attacks, which I don't think is entirely necessary. I realize you don't want to be super unfair, like Golden Axe and so on and so forth, where there's only very specific gimmicks involved in actually killing an enemy, but you don't need to go that far in this case. You don't have to have these gigantic tells saying, this guy is about to attack you! Better get a move on and hit him right now before he starts flashing. That's unnecessary. Yeah, we don't need that. Not at all. Alright, there we go. But yeah, it's pretty good. Obviously, as a budget brawler, I think it's gonna have quite a lot of lifespan thanks to the actual co-op itself. 38 minutes is how long it took me to beat that level, so again, pretty lengthy. Apparently I didn't find either of the weapons in the level, which is surprising considering I did explore quite a lot. That's a little bit disappointing actually, because unfortunately that means that I will not be able to show you anything new here. I did get one skill point, which is not exactly generous, I've got to say. Flaming weapons sounds like a plan. There we go. My character progression currently at 7%, but I think the character progression model will give people a significant amount of longevity to the title. Way to force a path through. Yeah, it's pretty good. But there are things that need to be done with it. I do think that variety has to be extended prior to the release of the title. I think it just needs a little bit more at the start. More enemies, more weapons available, more combos available from the start so that that combat system just isn't as repetitive as it currently is. I have a tolerance for that kind of thing when it comes to brawlers, but not quite as much as that. Yeah, that's going a little bit too far. There. Now you can see like the linear parts of the levels have actually gone and you've actually got a little bit of exploration available here. Usually, it's very much you can go left and right. Yeah, I know, it's amazing, right? But in this case, not so much. But as I said, the game is definitely strongest when it allows you to do that. But I appreciate that kind of level variety and the different sort of gimmicks. Just some of them are rather annoying. Alright, okay, I think that pretty much wraps up my thoughts on Final Exam. We don't have a release date for this one yet, but it is coming to PC as well as Xbox 360. I think it's going to be a pretty solid brawler. It's got a lot of potential. I was hoping that they tighten up some of the things prior to its release. My name has been TotalBiscuit. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.